This is an easy-to-understand video on how to measure for a triathlon wetsuit. I have been involved with triathlon wetsuits for about 30 years, supplying them to numerous Olympic athletes and receiving a lot of feedback to create new wetsuits. My name is Onishi, and I am the head of 5A. Nice to meet you. For this wetsuit measurement, we need a measurement chart, a measuring tape, and a pen. We need these three. We are ready to measure up. There are several key points to note, so I will explain them as we go along to make it easy to understand. Let's begin. First, write your height and weight. Here, height and weight are the basics. Starting from the top, we'll take measurements from the neck downwards. And, for women, we also need to take a measurement of the bust. That'll add for more measurement points. So, overall, there are 21 measurement points, plus for more for women. We'll start taking measurements from your neck down, so please take a look. We start with the neck. Basically, we measure the narrowest part of the neck. Basically, we measure the narrowest and widest points everywhere. If you can fit a finger in here, that's a definite no-no. Water getting in from here is the worst thing, so we measure it like this. Next, let's measure shoulder width. For shoulder width, you'll find your shoulder blades and collarbones here. The very end of the collarbone is here, so we'll place our point here. Please lower your head forward once. This will cause a bone to protrude. Here, we'll pass over this point. Press here slightly, then bring your head back slightly. This is the point, and now we'll move to the other end, here. And that's the shoulder width. Next, we'll measure your chest circumference, which is basically just under your armpits, right here. Please make sure it's not too tight. Most people tend to take a deep breath and make their chest too big, so please gently press your shoulders once to help you relax. We'll take your measurements in this manner. Next, the narrowest part, this time the waist. We measure the waist area. And the waist, it is also similarly, it's a problem if water gets in. It accumulates around here. So basically, it's best to take the measurements when you're hungry. Even if you gain about 5 to 7 kilograms, the wetsuit will generally stretch, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, next, let's measure your hips. Now, measure the largest part of your buttocks. Neck, shoulder width, chest, waist, hips, back length, sleeve CB, sleeve length. Now, we'll do it in this order. For the back length, lower your neck firmly forward to this point. Return to the starting position, and from this point, measure your back, center, here, along your spine, to your tailbone, to the tip of your tailbone, up to here. And now, next, this time it's the sleeve length. The sleeve length is similarly, from this point, and hold it here. Continue measuring up to this point, on the wrist. If we measure it with the hands down to measure that point, the sleeves end up being too long when we make them. So, since we swim in this position, we want to measure the length in the middle, so we take the measurement in this position. Okay, next up is the sleeve length. The sleeve length is measured at the edge of the shoulder, as we did earlier. We'll measure the sleeve length from here to the bump here. If there's anything unusual about the length of your right and left arms, such as injuries, or if your dominant arm is longer due to playing tennis, etc., please let us know. We will take these factors in. If your right arm is extremely thin, or your left arm is extremely thin or thick, then it's definitely best to have both arms measured. Okay, next we'll go to the armhole. The armpit is here, so press firmly. Then, pass over the edge of your shoulder, here, and then measure here. Now, the upper arm. The upper arm is the widest part. Next, the narrowest part. The elbow. Okay, next. Measure the thickest part of your forearm. Here. And next, measure your wrist. Well, your wrist is also thin, right here, just above the bone at your wrist. It's probably the thinnest part, so measure here. Okay, now we'll move on to the lower body. And we'll measure your inseam. Please stand like this and spread your feet about shoulder width apart. And here, this is the 0 point. So please align it with your groin. And measure down to your ankle, right here. Okay, down here. Next, we'll measure your thighs. This point right at the top, right here. And, as I mentioned earlier, if your finger can fit in there, that's a no-no, so it should be snug. It's even better if it's a little tight. Next, the narrowest part, just above the knee. This point, we measure here. Now, it's directly above the kneecap. Try to go straight here. Next, below the kneecap. This is the narrowest part. Now, it's the calf. Measure the widest part of your calf. Here. Next, measure your ankle. The ankle is the narrowest part. Measure here. And next in order, the 21st one is shin length. Shin length is right in the middle of the kneecap. Please align it with the middle and measure up to this ankle. Please measure up to here. That measurement data, well, actually, we don't make wetsuits to this length. We'll adjust it based on this measurement data. Some customers participate in short-distance triathlons, or even shorter ones, and even those who participate in long-distance races sometimes want to change the length here. In the case of short distances, during the transition from swimming to cycling, some people want to take it off quickly. So, in that case, we make this part a little shorter to cater your needs. So, this part is actually, this is about this length. But well, from here on the knee, from this point, we want to cut it to this length. If you'd like me to cut it around a certain point, you can write that in the comment section. So now, from here on, they are points only for women. We'll measure the bust area. And for the other part, please turn slightly to this side and pass it over the nipples. Please lower your arms. and take the measurement like this. So, following the flow of the measurement chart, we measure somewhere else, but we measure a different part. We measure your underbust. And, at this time, as I just mentioned earlier, if you breathe in too much, it will get bigger, so, in a normal state, please relax and take the measurement. And then we'll take your underbust measurement. Next, I'd like you to turn to the side, right between the neck and the shoulder, straight down through the center. This is the bust drop. And then, next, this is the very last one, between the nipples, the distance between the nipples. Just measure it yourself, please. So, well, in this way, we are currently taking measurements at the pool, but if there's a coach or someone, for the triathlete, for the person who is ordering the suit, we talk about their swimming style and things like that, and then we'll adjust the thickness of the wetsuit. Naturally, with a wetsuit, the thicker it is, the more buoyancy it provides. You can float higher and swim more easily. However, swimmers who are good at swimming and have a high body position already tend to dislike thick wetsuits. Swimmers who want to kick but the lower body floats too much and misses the water, you can make it thin there. So, just so you know, the rules for triathlon wetsuits are, with a maximum of 5 mm is allowed. At our company, we use 6 types. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mm and now 0.3 mm. While checking customers' weight, we decide how thick here should be, and how thick here should be, and how thick the arm should be, and the thickness of the upper body, and the thickness of the front and back panels. If you like, it's best if you consult with us about those points. As a tip, if you like to swim with a pool boy in the pool, and there are quite a lot of men who do that, then it's best to just adjust the lower body, right here, to the maximum, 5 mm, and swim similarly. So, roughly speaking, what kind of style do you usually swim in?
I feel it's too high with a wetsuit on.
So, you're saying a thinner one is better? And, I think, your weight isn't that heavy either. With a wetsuit it's better to keep the actual weight of the wetsuit light as well. And in the water a heavy wetsuit is less comfortable than a lighter one. So basically, a 2 mm or 3 mm construction is probably best. In the case of a full suit, the arms would be 1 mm thick and the upper body 2 mm, with the lower body being 3 mm or 2 mm. I think that's how it would be for her. So, if you have any preferences, please feel free to ask.